Let us consider together, if we may, the book of Daniel. Daniel chapter 3, verses 13 through 18. We will consider this text as we prepare to come to the Lord's table in just a few moments. All of those who believe, who profess that Jesus is Lord, and believe that God raised him from the dead, are invited to participate in communion later in our time together. Daniel chapter 3, verses 13 through 18, we find these words. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in rage and anger, gave orders to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then these men were brought before the king. Nebuchadnezzar responded and said to them, "Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the golden image that I have set up? Now, if you are ready at the moment you hear the sound of the horn, and the flute, the lyra, the psaltery, and bagpipe, and all kinds of music, to fall down and worship the image that I have made, very well. But if you do not worship, you will immediately be cast into the midst of a furnace of blazing fire. And what God is there who can deliver you out of my hands?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to give you an answer concerning this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the furnace of blazing fire, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But even if he does not, let it be known to you, O king, that we are not going to serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up." This is the word of God for us, the people of God. Thanks be to God in chapter 1. Oh God, I pray in the name of Jesus that like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, we might practice a faith in you that is carved in stone. I pray that as a result of our time together, we might mature in our Christian discipleship. And oh God, we love you, we exalt you, we praise you when you save us from the fire in the furnace, and when you don't. You are God. And we give you praise now collectively. In the name of Jesus, we do pray. I find this text that we have just read together, I find it so inspiring. It nourishes my soul, and it has done so for many, many years now. King Nebuchadnezzar, that funny-sounding name, Nebuchadnezzar, it's just the name of the king of Babylon. King Nebuchadnezzar and his army destroyed Judah and Jerusalem roughly 587 years before the birth of Jesus. In fact, by way of reminder, listen to these words from 2 Kings chapter 25, beginning in verse 8. Here's what happened. Now on the 7th day of the 5th month, which was the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem. He burned the house of the Lord, the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, even every great house he burned with fire. So all the army of the Chaldeans who were with the captain of the guard broke down the walls around Jerusalem. Then the rest of the people who were left in the city, and the deserters who had deserted to the king of Babylon, and the rest of the people Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away into exile. But the captain of the guard left some of the poorest of the land to be vine dressers and plowmen. Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah were among a group of exiles that were picked for the king's service. The king removed many of the Jews from the land of Israel, took them to Babylon, and then these 4 gentlemen were among those that were hand-selected by the king to learn the literature and the ways of the Chaldeans. The king gave them new names, you may remember. Daniel became Belteshazzar, Hananiah became Shadrach, Mishael became Meshach, and Azariah became Abednego. In Daniel chapter 3, then, the text that is before us now, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, Babylon is in modern-day Iraq, the king makes an image of gold, and he demands all the people to worship the image. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they refuse to do so. They are Jews, and they are not to offer worship to any image at all. They are not to offer worship to anyone or anything except Yahweh, the God of heaven. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego say to the king, "We are not going to worship this image that you have constructed." The text is not clear if the image was an image of the king himself or if it was an image of the gods that the king wanted everyone to bow down to. Whatever the case, these 3 gentlemen said, "No, we are not going to do it." I don't know where Daniel was. Daniel's not a part of this group right now. It's Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So the king tells Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego what their penalty will be. He gives them one more opportunity, and he says, "Bow down and worship this image. If you do not bow down and worship this image, then you will be thrown into a furnace of blazing fire." Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, notice what they say. This moves me, and it has for years. Notice verse 16 of Daniel 3. The king says, "Either you worship this image I have set up, or I'm going to throw you 3 into a furnace of blazing fire." And what God can save you from that? Verse 16 of Daniel 3. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to give you an answer concerning this matter." And notice verse 17, church. "If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the furnace of blazing fire, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king." Now, notice verse 18. I love this. But even if he does not, but even if God does not deliver us, let it be known to you, O king, that we are not going to serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they demonstrate a mature faith and understanding of God. They say to King Nebuchadnezzar, "Listen, our God is able. Our God can save us from that fiery furnace. Absolutely, he can. But you know what? Even if he does not, I'm going to be faithful." Now, there is a mature faith in God. When God saves us, we are faithful, and when God does not save us, we are faithful. Sometimes God intervenes and saves us from the fiery furnace, and sometimes, for whatever reason, God does not intervene and does not save us from the fiery furnace. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, "Look, king, it doesn't matter which way this goes. We are faithful to our God who gave us life. We are faithful to our God who led us out of slavery to the Egyptians. We are faithful to our God that led us through the wilderness. We are faithful to our God that led us into this land. We are faithful no matter what happens now. And I love it. Oh, I love it. I've been attracted to this text for a long time. But I identify with it more than ever, I think. Because my own religious convictions, my own belief that God was in Christ reconciling the world to himself, my own belief that God raised Jesus from the dead, these beliefs and these understandings, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they are more carved in stone in my personal life than ever before. I too say to God, my God is able to deliver me from whatever my peril or my anxiety or my concerns. My God is able to deliver me, but even if he does not, I will continue to serve and will continue to believe. I don't know what it was that got Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to this point, to where they could say, even if God does not deliver us from the fiery furnace, we're not going to bow down to that golden image. I don't know how Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego got to the point where they have a faith that is so carved in stone, but I do know how it happened in my life. I've shared this with you before, though not recently. I like to revisit this every now and then for a couple of reasons. One, it's one of those experiences that is in my past, much like our time living in Edinburgh, Scotland. This experience is like that experience. And even though it's very much in my past, it is relevant, and I live with it, and I remember it, and I reflect on it almost every day of my life. It's one of those instrumental moments that we have. And I like to share this with you from time to time because I want you to know that doubt is a part of belief. I want you to know that doubt is a part of faith, that it is a part of the journey. So my Christian faith became carved in stone when I went through my, what I call, 1.5-year dark night of the soul. It was the most miserable period of my 50 years. By far, the most miserable period of my life. I went through this phase where I simply questioned everything. I went through this phase where I wondered if I were still a Christian. I wondered if I still believed. I wondered if rational people could really believe that God raised Jesus from the dead. I went through this phase where I wondered if rational people could really believe in God at all. And it was a horrible, horrible experience. Thank God it happened to me while I was at Chowan and not while I was pastoring a church. Thank God it happened to me when I was in an academic position and not an ecclesiastical position. Thank God. I stopped preaching for a year. I just gave it up altogether because I needed to be honest and I needed to work through this. And it was the darkest phase of my life. And I was so miserable. But I emerged a Christian with a faith that is carved in stone. Here's what I decided. You know, I have wondered through the years, you hear me continue to talk with you about secularization and its effect on the church. You continue to hear me talk to you about how people just don't do church like they once did. You continue to hear me talk to you about how people put so many things in front of the church and it's commonplace and accepted these days. I do wonder if one reason people are doing that more and more is it's just simply harder and harder to believe this stuff. It's simply, I just wonder if one reason people are participating in church less and less is because they struggle to believe what we say. They struggle to believe in a Messiah. They struggle to believe in a God that raises the dead. They struggle to believe in this idea of death for the forgiveness of sins. I wonder if that's part of what keeps people away in our modern day. And I'm sympathetic to it because I struggled with it one time myself. But I came to the conclusion, this is what I concluded. I concluded that indeed, this Jesus stuff is so deep in my bones. And I concluded that early Christians believed that God was in Christ reconciling the world, and that early Christians believed that God raised Jesus from the dead. I concluded that Paul was very sincere in his beliefs, and Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are very sincere in their beliefs. Now, it's possible, of course, that they got it wrong. But I don't think that they did get it wrong. I think that they got it right. We heard an alternative explanation for the empty tomb last Sunday from Matthew's Gospel. The explanation that we Christians hold to is that that tomb was empty because God raised Jesus from the dead. That's one way to explain it. Another way to explain it, as we heard from Matthew's Gospel, is that the disciples came at night and stole the body, and that's why the tomb is empty. There are various ways to go about putting the pieces of the puzzle together. I recognize that. But I decided that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John got it right. I decided that Paul got it right. And then I just decided, look, if they didn't get it right, if they're wrong and somebody just came and stole the body, then you know what? I'll just be wrong with them. I'll go to my grave wrong. And now, I stand before you today with a Christian faith that is carved in stone. God is able. God is able. But even if He does not, I'm going to continue to serve and I'm going to continue to believe, and that's the way I'm going to my grave. Hear me, church. I find that when I talk about this, I get a lot of response. I suspect a lot of people struggle with doubt. I suspect a lot of people have questions just like I've had. And hear me, church. Doubt is a part of faith. They go hand in hand. Hang on tight and come out with a faith carved in stone. So what about you? Can I ask you today, as your pastor? Is your Christian faith carved in stone? Like that of a Shadrach, a Meshach, and Abednego? Don't you just love it? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego say to King Nebuchadnezzar, you want to know what kind of God can save me from this fiery furnace? Well, my God can save me from this fiery furnace. But you know what? Even if He doesn't, even if I burn in that fiery furnace, I am not going to bow down to that image. I am not going to do it, whether my God intervenes or whether He doesn't. And isn't that magnificent? Don't we all desire a Christian faith that resembles that? What about you? Perhaps if not yet, if not a faith carved in stone yet, perhaps you're just one experience away from getting there. I hope it's not a dark year and a half of the soul. I would not wish that on anyone. Perhaps for you today, it might be something as simple as this communion table, or something as commonplace as this communion table. Perhaps as you handle the bread today, and perhaps as you taste the juice, you might decide, along with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that God is able. You might decide that God is able to save you from your fire. God is able to save you from your financial troubles. God is able to save you from your cancer. God is able to save you from your troubled marriage. God is able to save you from your rebellious children. God is able to save you from whatever it is. But you know what? Even if you die with cancer, you're going to continue to serve and you're going to continue to believe. That is a faith in God that is carved